All right, your focus question for today is going to be, how do I use sine, cosine, and tangent to find side lengths in right triangles? How do I use sine, cosine, and tangent to find side lengths in right triangles? Yesterday you wrote the ratios. Today you're going to use the ratios as proportions to find missing side lengths. So draw this triangle on your paper, please. Okay, this angle down here in the bottom right, let's make it 25 degrees. Let's make the side opposite the angle x. The side adjacent to the angle is 18. And let's make the hypotenuse y. Going to make sure that you have SOHCAHTOA written on your paper. That's the acronym to help you remember all the ratios. All right, so here's how this works today. You're going to be finding side lengths. Let's find x first. In relation to the 25-degree angle, the x is the opposite side, and the given side is the adjacent side. Okay? So you're working with opposite and adjacent. So you check your acronym, and tangent is the ratio that deals with opposite and adjacent. So you're going to be using tan. So now you're going to write a proportion, and your proportion is going to be tan of 25 equals the opposite side, which is the x, over the adjacent side, which is 18. So you've got a proportion now. And when x is in the numerator, the next step is just to multiply each side by 18. These two 18s on the right-hand side cancel out, and you're just left with the variable x. And then it's just a matter of typing it in the calculator. 18 times 25 tan equal sign. And you should get 8.39. And that's the length of the other leg of the triangle.
How did you get that? The 18?
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
18 times 25 tan equals.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Make sure your calculator is set to second fix 2 so that it rounds everything 2 decimal places for you. Anybody not get the 8.39? Okay. Type it in, you clear your calculator and type 18 times 25 tan equal sign. What'd you get? Got it? All right. So now, you repeat the process for y. And when you're going to solve for y, use the 18 again. All right, because this 8.39 has been rounded, and the 18 hasn't. The 18 was given. So now, in relation to this 25-degree angle, if you're solving for y, you're going to be dealing with adjacent and hypotenuse. The ratio that goes with adjacent and hypotenuse is cosine. Yes?
Can't we just do a squared plus b squared equals c squared?
You can if you want to now, but this is way faster. So since you're dealing with adjacent and hypotenuse, you're going to write a cosine proportion. So now you can go cosine 25 equals adjacent over the hypotenuse. Don't write anything down for a second. I want you to just listen. Okay. In this proportion on the right, the variable was on the top. And it was a one-step problem. It was multiply both sides by the denominator. Okay? Now, the variable's on the bottom, isn't it? When the variable's on the bottom, it's kind of a two-step problem. Here's what's going to happen. In order to solve for y, you have to multiply each side by y. And these two y's cancel each other out. So what you've got on the left-hand side is y times cosine 25 equals 18. And the next step is to divide each side by cosine 25. These will cancel out, and y is going to be equal to, in your calculator, you're going to go 18 divided by 25 cosine equals, and you should get 19.86. So the hypotenuse here is 19.86.
Wait, after you cancel out the cosine 25, I'm confused on what you're after that.
18 divided by cosine 25. But you have to type cosine 25, 25 cos, and hit the equal sign. The point I'm trying to make is if the variable's on the top, all you're doing is multiplying each side by the denominator. If the variable's on the bottom, you don't have to do all this writing if you don't want to. All you've got to do when the variable is on the bottom is take this numerator and divide it by your sine, cosine, or tangent, and you're finished. Okay? So it'll save you a bunch of time and a bunch of writing. But if you don't think you can remember that, then you're going to have to write it out. You're going to have to write the proportion every time. Any questions there? All right, let's do another one. What other piece of information is needed? One more angle measure. Very good. Let's make this angle 72 degrees. Let's solve for x first. So in relation to the 72-degree angle, you're going to be dealing with adjacent and hypotenuse. Adjacent and hypotenuse is cosine. So cosine 72 equals the side adjacent to the angle, which is x, divided by the hypotenuse, which is 20. The x is in the numerator, so you're going to multiply each side by 20. and you should get 6.18. Yes?
How do you know to use COS and TAN?
All right. The question is, how do you know to use cosine, tan, or sine? It's a process, okay? And here's the process. You look at the angle given, the 72-degree angle, and you ask yourself, what am I going to solve for? In this case, we said we were going to solve for x. So, which side is the x on in relation to the 72-degree angle? Is it on the side opposite? Is it on the adjacent side, or is it on the hypotenuse?
Adjacent.
It's on the adjacent side. And what other side is given? The hypotenuse. So which ratio deals with adjacent and hypotenuse? Cosine. So the side you're solving for and the side that's given determines which ratio that you're going to use. Okay? Ronaldo.
What buttons are you using to get that answer?
Yeah, I can't.
Say that again.
What buttons are you using to get that answer?
I'm doing 20
Just a 20.
times 72 cos equals.
Okay. So the letters go last?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys got to enter the number first and then the cosine. And that's why it's so important that you do these with me and you're getting the same answers as I am, because if you're just watching and you're not using the calculator, you're not going to know how to enter it and you're going to be off track, okay? So make sure that you're getting 6.18. It's 20 times 72 cosine, and you have to hit the equal sign. Did you get it, Ronaldo?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so now let's solve for y. Solving for y. Now, you've got an opposite side and the hypotenuse. Opposite and hypotenuse is a sine. So you would write sine 72 equals the opposite side over the hypotenuse. That's 20. And again, the variable's in the numerator, so you're going to multiply each side by 20. Times 72 sine.
Yeah,
19.02. And the answers should make sense to you, okay? Because 20 is the hypotenuse, and in a right triangle, the hypotenuse has to be the longest side. So both of the legs needed to be less than 20, and they are. Does anybody have any questions or need to see another example? Okay, make sure you remember that when the variable's in the numerator, all you're going to do is you're going to multiply each side by the denominator, and you're finished. When the variable's in the denominator, say you had tan, 25 equals 15 over x. When the variable's in the denominator, you're going to take this numerator and you're going to divide it by whatever's right here. Okay? You can just move the x to the other side and take 15 and divide it by 25 tan. Should get 32.17. That's the process when the variable's in the denominator. It's the numerator divided by whatever's on the other side. All right, your assignment for today is it's going to start on page 573. looking in your book, if there was a book on your desk for problems 8, 9, and 10, somebody should have added the letter Y to each of those triangles so that you have to solve for two sides. If not, wherever there's a blank side or wherever there's a side that doesn't have a number or a variable, I want you to add the letter Y. So on page 573, you're doing 8 through 11. And then on the next page, 26 through 34. Yeah, 26 through 34. 28 through 34. You're solving for X and Y on all those triangles. If there's not a letter Y written in, on the open side, write it in. Make sure you check headline for homework. And answer your focus question.